Happy NFL Sunday, everybody. As promised on our episode for today, here is our YouTube exclusive Jock Market breakdown and bidding phase. I'll turn over to Cody here to kind of tell you guys what this app is and why we love it so much.
Yeah, so I kind of discovered this app and gave it a try for the same reason I gave Symbol a try. So I found Jock Market before Symbol, and it was advertised as a stock market for professional sports players.
Mhm.
At that point, I believe they only had the NBA and NFL. They now have NHL and MLB as well.
Yep.
Not really sure if they're looking to tap into other markets. I'm sure the college would just be too tough.
That's crazy. Too many players.
But yeah, so basically what it is, for NFL, well, I'll go over the NFL just because that's where we're at right now. So the NFL Sunday market. So it incorporates all games on Sunday, the noon, the 3 o'clock, and the night game. And they choose 120 players. And this is all based on fantasy points. So it's
full point PPR.
Full point PPR.
And passing touchdowns are 4. So pretty standard. Interceptions 3, fumbles -3. So, but also important to 100-yard bonuses. 3 points for 100-yard rushing, 1 point for 100-yard passing, and 3 points for 100 yards receiving. So,
yeah,
important to note. That's because you might see a little high projections, but you have to assume an extra 3 for high-end receivers and running backs.
Yeah. So basically how it works is it starts with an IPO phase. So the IPO phase, they release an undisclosed amount of shares for each player.
Mm-hmm.
And players like me and Jer here can bid on players. And you bid based on like how high you think they'll finish fantasy points wise. And the valuation, so first place, the overall fantasy score for all the Sunday games, you get $25 per share. So, your guys like Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Hopkins, McCaffrey, they're going to be going for double digits, probably in the $10 to $15 range, because you can be fairly confident that they're going to finish up there.
Right.
But from there, the valuations drop. Second is 20, third 18, fourth 16, all the way down to $1 for 120th.
Every player between that finishes 120th to 80th gets $1. So you get a little bit back, but you're not really going to get to buy a player for under $1, so you're going to get a little bit of a loss.
Well, the minimum is $1.
Right.
And then there's also a 1% transaction fee on IPO phase. So that, Jock Market's never going to lose money on a player. So yeah, I mean, that's basically it. And kind of updates live. So like I can see right now, the bidding on Devontae Adams just went from like $7.50 to $8 a share. And Mahomes is sitting at 808. And as we get closer to the 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern cutoff, that's when the IPO phase ends.
Mm-hmm.
As we get closer, we're going to see these values on players jump quite a bit.
Right. You're not going to be able to get Devontae for $8 here just because he's viable here to get at least a payout of 16, 18, 20, $25.
Right.
Although, I mean, with wide receivers, it's always a risk.
Yeah.
They could just game plan them out. And it's hard to do that with a guy like Devontae Adams, but I think we both kind of prefer staying away from those top level guys. There's money to be made, but it's a little safer, but it's a little less because it's not a payout per fantasy point. It's a payout per where they finish. So your max is 25.
Right.
So if you buy a guy for 18, the max per share you're going to make is could be $7.
Right.
Whereas if you get a guy for closer to like $2 or $3, your percentage return, I mean, if they have a really good game, they can, make you 6 or 7. You're feeling a lot better about that than getting Devontae and having him finish third or something.
Right. So yes, like IPO phase ends, you have your players, and then you're like, now what? Do I just wait for all the games to finish or what? So no, the answer to that is no, you don't have to wait. There is once the IPO phase ends, you can immediately start live trading. So now let's say I own a share, let's say I just took a stab and I got, a guy like Logan Thomas for $1.50. And he scores an early touchdown in the Washington game. And someone is like, oh, I'll pay you $4.50 a share. And you're like, well, I guess I'd rather lock in the profits than take the chance that maybe he just doesn't even get another catch the rest of the game.
Right.
You can sell that during which incurs a 2% transaction fee.
After I pay, yeah.
That's for live trading. So then they recently, within the last month here, added a shorting option where you can short players. If you think like, okay, Devontae, he's going for like $15 a share right now. I just don't see it. They do offer the ability to short players that you think are overvalued, but because it's so fresh, neither of us two have experienced it.
No, we're not exactly sure of how the ins and outs of that work quite yet.
So yeah, we're definitely going to experiment with it today, so we can kind of let you guys know week 2, like how that works and all the lowdown on that.
You think 2 or 3 players right now you're going to have your eye on their short, just because their matchup, or you just think they're overvalued, or
it depends. I'd like to see how it shakes out. Right now, I don't hate an AJ Brown short.
I was thinking about that. You just don't know what his workload's going to be in
with
the new
Julio
system
in there, and I could see an AJ Brown short being plausible. And then I could also see a Patrick Mahomes short, just because of his name. He's going to go for like $15 a share.
Cleveland's defense isn't bad.
Right. So right now, guys, that I am kind of keeping my eye on, because we are only 10 minutes away from the end of the bidding phase. I don't hate Jameis Winston. He's right now sitting at $2.05, which would equate to him being let me check quick, him being the 64th highest scoring fantasy player would be you making money on him. I don't hate that. I think, it's Jameis. He very well could throw 2 interceptions, but he very well could throw 4 touchdowns.
Absolutely.
He just jumped up to 301. Now he's kind of off.
Right. These are all going to start kind of hopping up a bit here. So yeah, this is the point where I start to put bids in. There's people, you'll see it right when it opens up at 9 a.m. People will put bids in, and Mahomes will jump to like $1.10 instead of $1. And it's like, those bids aren't going to stand.
Right.
There's really no point in putting in legitimate bids until we're in the kind of last 5-10 minutes here.
Right.
And it is important to note, say a guy is at all shares will go for the same price. So say a guy, say it's 100 shares available for Patrick Mahomes, and the 100th highest bid is $15. Everyone who has bid above $15 will get a share of Patrick Mahomes for $15. If you're not the brightest upstairs and you said, hey, I'll pay $30 for Patrick Mahomes, even though his max payout is $25, you can do that just to guarantee that if you're a huge believer in Mahomes this week, that he is going to be the number 1 fantasy player. You could just do that and pretty much guarantee yourself that you're going to get a share of Mahomes at whatever price he ends up being at.
Right.
So you can overbid without being too scared, because it's going to go. You're not ever going to get lose extra money or pay extra money for these shares because you bid more than they ended up going for. You will get sent down to whatever that 100th or whatever the lowest bid that they're going to honor to give a share to.
Right. So I did just put a bid in for Brandon Cooks. He's right now sitting at 255, which would be the 57th overall highest fantasy scorer for a payout.
Mhm.
I mean, WR1, Jacksonville doesn't have a strong defense. I don't mind kind of getting them there. I just saw you put in a bid for Austin Eckler. I do really like that. I'm very high on Austin Eckler this year.
I am as a guy that's high on Austin Eckler. I also own what's the name? Justin Jackson in fantasy. I was a little worried this week. Austin Eckler not practicing a whole lot, but he has been listed as active. I think people have been if he's active, he's going to produce, especially the full point PPR. So I think people are being a little too scared. And the cool thing about Jock Mkt is they give you a very projected output. So right now, Austin Eckler is at $3.33, and it gives you right under that. He would have to finish as the 48th most scoring fantasy player this week to break even at $3.33. So you you don't have to do a whole lot of mental math. Right. You can kind of think where you think he is going to finish, and it'll tell you if you're getting value or not. They also give you projected payouts per like where they think he's going to finish. It's a nice little benchmark, but it's projections. So don't use it as the Bible on this. It's
right.
But it's a nice little benchmark that you can use to think if you're getting a good deal or not.
Right. Well, you can kind of it gives you a little input into like their vision versus the other players. Because like personally, I don't have a guy like Jared Cook in a fantasy league, but he's in this. I'm not looking at matchups there. There's no reason for me to know matchups for something like that. Like it's nice for like the projected payout is nice just for the purpose of you're not going to do research on 120 guys.
No, you just can't. You can know how you feel about the games and such, but it's really a gut decision at the end here.
Okay, Austin Eckler spiking up to 388.
My bid's at 4.
I did 425 just because I had like 850 left, and I'm like, well, lock in 2 shares there.
I'm putting in bids for Tua right now. He's super undervalued, in my opinion. He's only at 219 right now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's 10:55 right now. It's set to go at 11, but really anytime between 10:57 and 11, it might close. There's a little bit of variance in there. So it's good to get your bids in now.
Right, like it could just shut off now.
Right.
Kind of have all my money allocated.
I'm putting Mike Williams.
I've already got overbid on him twice, and now I already allocated cash elsewhere.
Right. Yeah. So that's all you gotta count for that. It's always tough.
So a little thing I always do too when I'm bidding, like there are some times where you'll see like guys finish right at like $5 on the dot.
What did I just? Oh, okay. I have 4 active bids right now, so they might just finish, but I'm waiting for these to get outdone.
But no, back to what I was saying. So like, like when you're putting in a bid, you're putting in $3 or $4.50 or $4.25.
Yep.
So something I like to do when I'm bidding, I'll put like 303 in case that cutoff is like $3, so that I don't get left out.
Just got bid for. Okay, I had some Odell bids in that I just got outbid for just because he was so low, just because they haven't said he's definitely playing, and I just got outbid for an Eckler share. Only one of them though.
Looks like both now. Eckler's to 408.
Yep. Okay, I gotta put some bids in because now I'm not getting that many.
So that's the thing. If you're playing on the fringe of like I might get a share, I might not. You might just get outbid, and then 1 second later the bidding end, and
Right.
you're just done.
Yeah, we're on the brink of it. It could end any second here. Just kind of it's crazy right now. You just got to be in your zone, putting in money, allocating it where you can. It's a rush, really. It's very exciting. This isn't a fantasy draft where you can do 16 mocks on the day before. You got to know your stuff, and you got to know it, and you have to know where these guys and where you think they're going to finish with their matchups down to the second, because the seconds matter right now. 10:58. It's got to be close. It's got to be close, and I'm hoping it's close. I like where my money is right now.
Gonna give Williams one more stab. Already been outbid twice on him.
He's at 225. He's at 222. I'm at 225. So I'm worried about those. Kind of outpacing me right now, but
Error submitting bid.
is it closed?
IPO closed.
Let's go.
No, it says end soon. Why is it not letting me?
I still see end soon as well.
I'm bidding above what is current. I'm bidding 260. He's at 222.
You don't have enough to do that many with the.
Yeah.
Oh, you should.
Yeah.
Is it closed?
Am I?
It's closed. It is closed. Yeah.
That sucks.
So what did you
So
end
like
with?
now you see I missed, and now I just have cash sitting there, and I'm gonna have to pay a premium on the secondary.
Right. So
market.
that's the thing. Even if you have never seen an NFL game in your life, if you're smart about getting players in the IPO phase, 3 minutes later you can sell them for a small profit.
Right. Like if you're cool making your 10% every Sunday,
Mhm.
you can do that.
10's maybe a tad ambitious, but you can make a little money for sure. But it's tough to sell those guys because like you've bought guys you feel good about, so you want to see them perform before you do it. So what did you end with? Who do you got shares of?
I got 4 shares of Darnell Mooney at $1.50.
Okay.
I just hate the Jalen Ramsey and Allen Robinson matchup. I think Mooney's going to get a lot of targets. More of an opportunity play. And I also like that they have the night game, because you'll find out that like if there's a lot of low scoring players in the early games, those night guys, you can sell at a massive premium. Like I doubt I'm holding every share of Darnell Mooney by the time that game starts.
You'll have to see how it shakes.
And then I locked in 3 at Brandon Cooks at a cost of 277. WR1 against a bad defense, and I'm a Tyrod believer. Believer in the sense that I think Tyrod can throw for 250 yards, and I think Cooks on the receiving end of a lot of those yards. So yeah, that was kind of my philosophy. I was trying to get Mike Williams there at the end. I just kept getting outbid, and then I just missed it.
I've got 3 shares of Mike Williams at 222 IPO, which I know makes you sick.
Yeah.
I have 3 shares of Tua at 229, which just feels so low.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to do a whole lot to be profitable there. And this one I really like. I threw this one in late after I got outbid for Eckler. 4 shares of Kirk Cousins at $4 a piece. Playing the Bengals defense.
You take that.
Obviously, Dalvin Cook, depending on where they score from, it could be a lot of Dalvin Cook touchdowns, but it can also be a lot of wide receiver touchdowns. Weapons all over that Vikings team. And here's what we're talking about. So there's people that are listing Kirk Cousins to try to get $6.05 for him. People listing Tua for $3.99. People listing Mike Williams for $4.98. And then there's people on the other side putting in bids to buy them for slightly less than the IPO, which would sell for less than the IPO. But it's only been open for a couple of minutes. I have to imagine we get a little closer to noon here, and we're seeing, making a 50 cents or $1 on a couple of these guys. But It's too much fun
to sell.
to make 50 cents rather than just watching to see what Tua does
Right.
against the Patriots.
Like, don't get me wrong. If I end up holding Darnell Mooney and he scores a touchdown like first, second drive,
You have to look into it. Yeah.
I have to look into it. If someone's giving me like $8 a share, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm selling that. So now what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to get someone off of Mike Williams because I still like him at like 240.
Mhm.
That 18-cent premium essentially is what that is. I'm gonna try putting in a bid at 240 and I'll let it sit. If it doesn't fill, it doesn't fill. I'll
Mhm.
use that extra cash to explore the shorting options.
Right.
And
I doubt he's I don't it's the Washington defense. They're very good. I don't think he's super likely to score in this game, but just with the pass rush the football team has, you got to do a lot of quick hitters with Herbert, and I really think Mike Williams is in line to just get a lot of receptions. And on the full point PPR, he's projected to be 60th among players, which would pay out. Let me see.
236.
60th paid 236. Obviously, you have marginal increases, but even if you can creep up to like 48th, that's $1 per share. So I just think he can do that purely with receptions. And if he gets a touchdown, then even better. It's a huge bonus for me. But
Yeah, and so like the reason I'm okay paying a little premium on Mike Williams, so he IPO'd at 222, which is the 62nd overall payout.
mm,
I bet at 240, that's 59th overall payout. That difference in like finishing in the fantasy standings
right.
is so minuscule
places,
that I'm willing to take a chance on that.
Yeah, so those are our purchases for on Jock Market. See, this isn't quite your casual daily fantasy site. We love those as well. They could be a lot of fun just doing your daily drafts. But this, I think, really takes some knowledge and some quick action. Pull the trigger on stuff that you got to do your homework on it. You got to know the matchups each week and know who you like before you go into it. So yeah, maybe this is something we'll continue from week to week. We'll be doing it whether we publish it or not, so we might
Right.
as well. But yeah, it's getting close.
It is.
I could smell it. We're within the hour. Steelers Bills will be on my TV, and yeah, enjoy the games. And we'll see you for our full recap Wednesday on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts.